On behalf of the class of 2015, I'd like to thank you all for being here to celebrate this very special day with all of us. I'd like to thank all the teachers, both elementary and high school, who devoted many hours to molding us and shaping us into who we are today. And by extension, I'd like to thank all the parents who provided the means and the opportunity for those teachers to further not only our education, but our relationship with Jesus. Special thanks is in order for Mr. Rail and Mr. Sorter for being not only our teachers and sponsors, but also our friends and examples. Really quickly, on a personal note, I'd like to thank my mom, dad, brother, grandpa, aunts, uncles, and cousins for being here today. I'd also like to give a shout out to Sidewalks for keeping me off the streets. I know that most classes probably think like this, but I really believe that we are a special class, not necessarily because of the talents and gifts that we possess, but more so because of what we mean to each other. I think I speak for the entire class when I say that despite our petty squabbles from time to time, we really do care about each other. These people are more than just a group of my peers who I went through high school with. These people are my family. And how could you not be? For most of us, we've spent our entire lives together. School is such a big part of our lives, and we see each other every single day at school. Countless hours have been spent doing projects, learning each other's quirks, figuring out how to push each other's buttons, and the like. We've seen each other grow, we've seen each other succeed, and we've seen each other fail, but most importantly, we've seen each other through to this day. And so, here we are, graduation day, ready to begin a new chapter in our lives. I think it's important for us to realize that after today, things are never going to be the same. This isn't all bad. It isn't all good either. Frankly, I don't believe there's ever been a more appropriate time to use the word bittersweet. Sweet because today we recognize and celebrate all the hard work that's gotten us to this point. Bitter because today we acknowledge the fact that never again will we all be together like this. And so if you start to look at it from the viewpoint that we are family, you can start to imagine why there's such a broad range of emotions. However, I'd like to take the advice of many a wise man and focus today on the happy, the positive, and the hopeful. Let us not be sad because we won't be together again. Let us rejoice in the fact that we've been privileged enough to be together for such a long time. Let us not be sad because we're all going our separate ways. Let us rejoice in the fact that we have an opportunity when we can all be together again and we won't have to say goodbye ever. At this point, I'd like to really quickly go through each member of my class and say something that I have, through personal experience, noticed about them and appreciate or admire. Susie. I notice how people act, how people get when they're around you. I view you as a sort of safe zone where people can freely express themselves and just enjoy being in your company. Stacy. Your organizational skills and work ethic are outstanding. I'm convinced that no matter what you choose to do with your life, you'll be enormously successful because of those traits. Eli, your personal strength and willpower set you apart. Those are really telling characteristics and ones that many people lack. Athena, even though you've only been with our class for 2 years, it feels like you've been with us since the beginning. Even past your artistic skills, your ability to make and retain friends is impressive. Michaela, I don't think I've ever met someone with better people skills. Your ability to interact with people you don't even know is amazing. You always seem to know just the right thing to say for better or worse, and that's something to be sought after. Brady, it really doesn't matter whether you give him any instruction or whether he has any experience. You can give him any task, and you know it's going to be a quality job. And I don't think it's because he tries all that hard. I think it's because that's just who he is. Spencer, you have an uncanny ability to find the lighter side of every single situation. I can remember many times when just a short, small comment from you has lightened the mood of an entire room. Rachel, you know what you believe and you aren't afraid to stand up and say it. That's something you really can't say about a lot of people, and I really honestly admire that. Ed, you know what's right and you do it. Many times I've seen you forsake your personal enjoyment for something that you believe is right, and that's really, really special. Tucker, I think everyone knows your sense of humor, but I don't think everyone knows your amazing capacity for understanding. Sometimes just listening to your conversation, I'm blown away and astonished by how much you know. And happy birthday, by the way. Taylor, if I had to choose someone to go through a zombie apocalypse with, it would be you. Your knowledge of not only cars, but anything and everything is amazing. Haley, I may have had an unfair advantage in getting to know you, but I can honestly say I've never met someone who cares more deeply, and not just about a single person, but about everyone and everything. Jeff, I think you're probably the definition of the word chill. You're easy to get along with, you're fun to be around, and your house is great for parties too. Kim, if I had to give you a title, I would label you as the first responder. Whenever someone is struggling or having a bad day, you're right there by their side. Doesn't matter who it is, without fail, just being encouraging. Kyle, from the time we were little, your patience and perseverance always astonished me, even if it was displayed in RuneScape at the time. As we got older, that manifested itself in other areas of your life, specifically schoolwork, and that's something I wish I had. As you can see, I have a very special class, and I couldn't be prouder of each and every one of them. I don't claim to be any sort of pundit on life, but there are a few things I'd like to share with specifically my class, but with everyone. Nothing in this world can take the place of persistence. Talent will not. Nothing is more common than unsuccessful men with talent. Genius will not. Unrewarded genius is almost a proverb. Education will not. The world is full of educated derelicts. Persistence and determination alone are omnipotent. Calvin Coolidge. The school system that we grew up in rewards two things, generally: intelligence and talent. And if you have an unusually high amount of either, odds are you won't have to worry about college debt, and you are put on what is considered to be the fast track to a successful life. In our social system, how physically attractive you are plays a huge role in determining your social status. A favorable appearance is considered paramount to advancement in certain careers. Today, I'd like to challenge that, specifically the idea that intelligence, talent, and good looks are the most desirable attributes to have. I can't tell you how many times I've heard, if only I was better at basketball, or if only I was smarter, if only I was prettier, just while walking down the hallways, let alone in direct conversation. Sure, it makes your circumstances easier if you have these, but in my short life, I've come to realize exactly what President Coolidge said so many years ago. You can't choose how smart you are. You can't choose what talents and abilities you're given. You can't choose what genes you're born with. However, luckily, what you can choose turns out to be the most important factor in determining your success in this life, and that's perseverance, or in other words, never giving up. If I had to give a motto to what I hope my life would be defined by, it would be simply that: never give up. And so I encourage you to, next time you find yourself wishing you were prettier, faster, or smarter, remind yourself that the most important characteristic to have for success in this life is one that you can choose right now, today, and every day for the rest of your life. Alexis de Tocqueville was a French political thinker and historian. In 1831, he was sent by the French government to the United States to, simply put, figure out how it was that a nation barely 50 years old was competing with the great imperial powers of England and France on almost every single level. At the end of 2 years, he concluded his findings by authoring 2 massive volumes titled Democracy in America. And in his conclusion, he wrote this: America is great because America is good. What that means is that America the nation was successful because the America the people were of high moral character. Character is higher than intellect. Ralph Waldo Emerson. Today I'd like to expand Emerson's thought to say character is higher than everything. See, much like perseverance, high character is not only the most important factor for success, but also one that we have the privilege of choosing. However, this is a different type of success. This type of success is what you might call everlasting. Because when we see Jesus coming again in the clouds of glory, he is not going to pull out a checklist and say, what was your GPA? What schools did you go to? How much money did you make in your life? What type of friends did you associate with? No. Because you see, as great as all of this is, not a single thing we do here on this earth matters except who we are. And so I encourage you as my family to choose to be hardworking, to choose to never give up, but most importantly, choose to be the person God wants you to be. Let us be good so that one day we may be great.